Welcome to the program. Today on Network CN, we're discussing the impact of President Trump's tariffs and how they will impact American people and the economy. Joining us is Hank, a leading expert on trade policy. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the big picture. Many people hear the word tariff and immediately think of higher prices. But what are the key benefits of Trump's tariffs, especially for the lower and middle class?
That's a great question. The main goal of these tariffs is to boost domestic manufacturing by making foreign imports less competitive. When we manufacture more goods here in the US, we create stable, well-paying jobs, particularly in industries like steel, aluminum, and automotive production. This benefits lower and middle-class workers directly by increasing job opportunities and improving wage stability.
That makes sense. Some people argue that tariffs raise prices on everyday goods. But is it possible that as we encourage domestic production, economies of scale will eventually lead to lower prices?
Absolutely. When businesses scale up production, they become more efficient and costs go down. Over time, this deflationary effect can result in lower prices for goods that were previously dependent on foreign imports. As domestic industries invest in automation, supply chains, and innovation, they can become more competitive and drive down costs, making American-made products more affordable in the long run.
That's interesting. So in addition to creating jobs and potentially lowering prices in the long term, how else might tariffs benefit American workers?
Another major benefit is increased tax revenue from tariffs, which can be reinvested into the economy. For example, President Trump has proposed using tariff revenue to eliminate taxes on tips, which would put more money directly into the pockets of service industry workers. That's a direct benefit to lower-income earners who rely on tipped wages. Another major benefit is increased tax revenue from tariffs, which can be reinvested into the economy. For example, President Trump has proposed using tariff revenue to eliminate taxes on tips, which would put more money directly into the pockets of service industry workers. That's a direct benefit to lower-income earners who rely on tipped wages.
That's a great point. Speaking of money in people's pockets, President Trump has also proposed major tax cuts. Do the savings from these tax cuts outweigh the potential increased costs from tariffs?
Yes, on an aggregate level, the tax cuts far surpass the potential inflationary impact of tariffs. Estimates suggest that extending the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act could save Americans around $400 billion per year, while the increased costs from tariffs are projected to range between $97 billion and $146 billion annually. So, overall, tax relief outweighs any inflationary pressures caused by tariffs.
So to summarize, tariffs are creating American jobs, encouraging domestic investment, and could even help lower prices over time, all while tax cuts are putting more money into people's pockets than they might spend on inflation. Is that a fair assessment?
Exactly. Tariffs are a strategic move to rebuild American manufacturing, strengthen the workforce, and reduce dependence on foreign goods. The long-term benefits far outweigh the short-term adjustments, and when combined with tax cuts, the economic advantages for American workers are clear.
This has been a fascinating discussion. Thanks so much for breaking it all down for us. That's all for today's segment. Stay tuned for our next guest, Pat, DEI thought leader, to explore what the optimal amount of pronouns are to attract attention.